Hello, again, I'm Kristal with SLM Solutions. So I'm just going to give a brief presentation about the metal additive manufacturing process. I'm going to touch on a lot of the same points that have already been made this afternoon. So again, just a little bit of background about SLM Solutions. The earliest incarnation of the company dates back to the 1800s. We've been working with metals and manufacturing for about 50 years now. Dr. Dieter Schwarze is one of the pioneers of the selective laser melting technology. He works with us over at our German headquarters over in Lübeck, and we have our North American offices in Metro Detroit, where we have a full team of applications engineers, service engineers to sell our selective laser melting systems. Oh, no, that button. So I think these will, oh, no. How do I get the videos to play? Oh, they are playing? They're not playing on my screen. Click on the image. There we go. Okay. So just some basics. Hopefully everyone's familiar with the powder bed fusion process. If you're not, that is a real-time video of it playing over there on your left. That's on our 4-laser SLM 500 system. And then on the right is obviously a very much slowed down video from Lawrence Livermore. And that's the type of video on the left. Everyone, ooh, that looks really cool, looks really fancy. If you look at it from the right, if you're trying to go into production, that video might cause some panic because this doesn't necessarily look like a controlled process. So trying to understand why that spatter is happening, what kind of effect that has, all of that is necessary for when you're going into production. And so there's lots of things. As much as I'd love to tell you, if you buy an SLM system, you're going to go straight to production. That's not really the truth. The machine is only one part of the equation. You have your machines, which drive your materials, and your materials drive your applications, and ultimately having the right application is where you're going to see your return on investment with additive manufacturing. So this isn't necessarily a plug-and-play technology. You really need to have all of these things to make sure that you're utilizing additive manufacturing effectively. So we'll start with the machines and some of the aspects of the machines that help you in this process. There's a large number of parameters that go into your process, and these machine settings are really what's going to determine a lot of your end results. So your main process variables, you see some of them up there, your laser power, your scan velocity, and hatching. With regard to surface quality, because we always get that question, what kind of surface quality can you get with these things? Same with your microstructure. There's a process window of material-dependent energy density, and you reach this by altering these process parameters. One of the unique things about SLM systems is that they are open parameter systems, so you can get a standard set of parameters for each material, but we're completely open. You can fiddle with these for better or for worse sometimes, but we do have that full team of applications engineers. We have a PhD metallurgist on staff who absolutely loves when you come to him with these types of issues, how to adjust your parameters. He geeks out about it, and so these are some of the things that you can adjust on our machines to really hone in on your particular process. There's also your build rate is the result of your scanning speed and your layer thickness. Those are also adjustable, and so just as an example, we give kind of a standard aluminum on an SLM single 400-watt laser system is about 35 cubic centimeters per hour. And then one other thing to take into account is your gas flow. We have one of our latest machine upgrades really gives you a much better uniform gas flow across your chamber. You can see from the charts there the surface roughness and the porosity. In the earlier versions, when your gas flow wasn't quite as uniform, you weren't getting the same quality results across the entire build chamber, which again, if you're going into production, is absolutely horrible if you're not getting that consistency and that repeatability. With the upgraded gas flow system that we've installed, the gas flow to clear out all of the soot from the chamber really gives you a much more efficient and a much more repeatable process so that all of your results are the same. That same PhD metallurgist loves the saying, the metal never lies. And so you can make parts that look great, but if the quality isn't there, if your microstructure isn't there, it doesn't matter, especially if you're going into production. And so for production, you need that repeatability and that transparency. And the OEMs are slowly starting to catch up with that with various quality control modules such as melt pool monitoring, layer control, laser power monitoring. All of those modules are being built into the systems these days to give you that transparency so you can see if something went wrong, where and why, and then be able to correct it for the future. And again, SLM as a vendor is actually proud to not drop the machine and abandon you. We have that crew that will help you with your best practices, your standard procedures for your facility and your process. So when you have your machine taken care of, the machines feed the materials. So what materials are available? You see the standard list up there of your weldable powders. All of those you can purchase from SLM Solutions, and we will give you the parameter set, plug and play, off you go. Unique feature to SLM, there's option 2. It's an open source for powders. So you can get them from any third-party system, source them locally, source them cheaper. We don't care. We generally recommend a certain quality as far as humidity goes. Make sure your micron size is correct so that it'll flow with the machine. But beyond that, go for it. Find yourself a new powder. We have a development module that will allow you to test the parameters, tweak them. If you're building 20 parts on a system, all 20 can have various parameters. So then afterwards, you can cut those off, test them, see which set of parameters is best for your process, and really use that for your competitive advantage. And once you start getting into production, those are the fine things that are really going to start showing you the investment when you have your IP, your process defined specifically for your application. So then if you have your materials, you need to apply it to that application. So what applications are best for additive? Been through it throughout the day, low volume, highly complex parts. You need to find new markets. You see it a lot in medical with the mass customization now. They're not making standard small, medium, large sizes for anything. They're making bespoke hip implants or printing one plate of 30 different dental frames, and each one is the scan of somebody's mouth so we know that it fits perfectly. The concept of design for additive. We're not designing for manufacturability anymore. We're designing for functionality. How can I improve the performance by incorporating conformal cooling channels or lattice structures to lightweight this? Reducing assemblies, the GE LEAP engine there we've all heard about. They took it down from, don't quote me on this, 30 some odd parts to 1 part. And then also your digital inventory, so that, or for legacy components, you can just print those because ultimately all you need is the CAD file. You don't need the tooling or the setup. So finding that application that really makes sense for additive. We have people come to us, they show us a CAD file. Well, how do you make this now on a lathe? We recommend continue to make it on a lathe. It will always be cheaper and faster unless you're going to do some topology optimization, incorporate some of those channels. Once you start getting into those types of applications, that's really where you're going to see your return on investment. So to put it all into summary, your return on investment is driven by your application. Find that right component that will work, that you can't make any other way. You have your materials. Can you define them? Can they give you that competitive advantage? Is it cheaper to make it additively so you don't have the waste material from subtractive? And then will the machine ultimately allow you to capitalize on that competitive advantage with the materials that you have? If you have all those things in place, cue shameless marketing plug, nice to meet you, we're SLM Solutions. We deal with selective laser melting, a metal technology, powder bed, and we're really focused on production machines. So we have a pretty high throughput on our machines from the fact that we pioneered multi-laser systems, so you can get systems all the way up to 4 lasers, and also our powder coating technology. It's top-fed, it's bidirectional, and so it cuts down about half of your powder coating time, which when you're doing thousands and thousands of layers, does cut down your build time. With that open philosophy, you can really capitalize on tailoring your process to your application. The powder handling, we try to keep it all closed loop, so you limit your contamination and also the safety for operators, really big in a lot of OEMs. And we have a great R&D IP profile over at our headquarters in Germany. Like I said, we were the first ones on the market with the multi-laser systems, and we really gear these systems towards production, and that's what our team is focused on, trying to help you get to that stage. So, thank you.
So any questions for Kristal?
Are you, is SLM ISO or AS?
We are, yes. It's not a touch screen. I'm not going to touch the screen. I believe we had it on there. Yes, we have the ISO certifications are listed up there. But yes, we do have those certifications from our lab, and we work with ITAR parts and all of that.
Does that include your service bureau?
We
Service of the machines?
our service engineers who service the machines, that I don't know for sure. Don't want to promise you anything that might not be correct.
Any other questions?
Are you a service bureau as well?
No, we only sell the systems. We do have a full lab in our facility in Wixom, Michigan, where we do run feasibility studies and test runs for people looking into buying systems, but we ourselves don't do services. We can recommend some of our customers who are service bureaus who run the selective laser melting systems.
I had a question.
Nope.
So for option 2, you said if a customer came to you with the powder, you'd help them out with parameters.
Correct.
Is that for the life of the machine, only for a couple years, or how does that work?
No questions for you. Right now, it's pretty much for the life of the machine. I mean, this industry is still relatively small enough that we do currently have a very personal relationship with most of our customers, that if they want that assistance, we're there for them. I mean, most people have our applications engineers' cell phone numbers. We run a monthly users group where they send us topics. We've talked about titanium reusability and different things like that. So right now it's not limited in any way. I don't know if that'll change as part of the business model, but right now we do pride ourselves in helping our customers out and that accessibility to our local here in Michigan, here in the U.S. Service team.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much.